Our welcome to our weekly huddle. Let me see. Here we go. So I'm looking at chat on my phone, and hey Jay, chat on my phone and presentation on my laptop because we're gonna make this work, right? Welcome to your weekly huddle. For those who I have not had an opportunity to meet before, this is a different. Check me next week and I'll be in my usual setting, but I'm whispering a little bit because I have a sick little one at home. I'm working from home. But for those who I have not had an opportunity to meet before, my name is Ray Cole Jackson. I'm a real estate attorney. I am the founder of Experts University. And it is my honor, it is my joy to come together every week with our group and have a quick huddle about business development. We are all CEOs of our very own real estate businesses. And so I can tell you as a person that is coached myself, it is necessary. It's necessary to have guidance and to have accountability, right? And I always say, if you knew how to do this thing, you would already be doing it. The thing that you aspire to do, if you already knew how to do it, you would be doing it. But since you don't, let's get guidance, right? Let's seek out a person that is doing it and get guidance from them. And then secondly, if you knew how to do it, you would have accountability. You would be consistent in it, right? So that is the other thing that really coaching and these huddles are for, is for you to come together and get guidance and accountability in your goals. Now, we are powered by a couple of brands, Model Mortgage Experts being the first. If you've been with us for a little while, you know that we are excited. We're very excited about now offering mortgages and loan financing as one of our offerings under the Experts umbrella. It is a if you know me personally, you probably know I was licensed as a loan officer before law school. And then during the mortgage crisis, didn't recertify, came back out, got my license, and now here we are, back at it, right? This is one of the things that was on my vision board. So Model Mortgage Experts is our newest baby, and we are so excited that it is up and running. We want to send a huge shout out and a you go girl and go get them and let's do this, and to see you at the closing table to our very own Jessica Taylor. Jessica is holding a veterans homebuyers workshop this Saturday on Zoom. We will be supporting her in her efforts to support veterans, right? And so it only makes sense that with tomorrow being Veterans Day, and obviously this being the theme of the weekend, that she would do a homebuyers workshop for veterans. Now, I can say, because I know Jessica personally, this is not her first time working with veterans. This is a niche market that she has focused on for a while now. And so this only makes sense that she would continue in this vein. Also, one of the other things that you guys will find out as you learn more about mortgage loans is that VA loans are sweet. They are sweet for the borrowers. 100% financing, no mortgage insurance, all sorts of other benefits, which will be part of what her discussion is on Saturday when she has her homebuyers workshop on Saturday for homebuyers. So again, we want to give you a huge shout out. You guys drop her some fire in the chat, give her some positive energy as she goes out there and gets some VA buyers. Here's the thing, guys. I want to make sure you guys are clear on this. Just because interest rates are doing what they're doing does not mean that people aren't closing. There are many that are still closing. There again, like I said before, there are some must. Still their best move, and it's still a must move. So you want to know about the mortgage rates, and you don't want to back up off of having a conversation. When people are scared, they listen. Right? And so people are listening now to whomever is giving them the best information about real estate, be it buying or selling. So don't silence yourself. You be the voice that they listen to. We're also powered by Transaction Experts, our transaction coordination company. And you know that we're powered by Title Experts, our title company. Yes, have to give good information. Yep. So obviously, if you've never worked with us before, you guys know the spiel. You know where to find us. We operate on service, attorney managed, dedicated closing team, dedicated transaction coordinator, regular status updates. You guys know where we are. When you're ready to close, we will see you at the closing table. We send new contracts to contracts@titleexperts.com. General questions go to closings@titleexperts.com. And you can always contact us at 866-5-EXPERTS, all right? We want to give a huge shout out and congratulations to Oscar, who went under contract. Congratulations to Oscar. Told you guys, people are still working. People are still working. We want to give a huge congratulations to R.W. Williams, Rich Wealthy, that's his name. R.W. Williams for closing on his, he had both sides actually. Recent closing where he had the buyer and the seller recently. So congratulations to R.W. We want to give a congratulations to Alexandria Connors, who also had a closing this week. So also Erica Greenwood, she also had a closing. So we want to send a huge congratulations to them and say, see you at the closing table for the next one, right? All right, so let's get into today's conversation. Show me the money, business financials for realtors. Business financials for realtors. So here's where I want you guys to understand. Today's conversation about numbers, literally once we tie this down, the rest of the conversations are about the activities that are going to allow us to accomplish and hit these numbers. Numbers are, once you finalize these numbers, it is what's going to drive your activity, right? It is going to drive your activity. I can tell you as an entrepreneur, CEO, I wasn't always crazy about numbers either. I would always say I'm an attorney. That's why I didn't go into, that's why I'm not a math teacher or a doctor. I don't like numbers. I'll talk you to death. I'll read you, I'll write you to death, but come on with the numbers, right? But that won't work. When you are the CEO, when you are the head of your business, you must know numbers. You must know numbers. And more importantly, the numbers are what are going to drive your activity. So we were having a conversation a couple weeks ago, and I think Leah is in here. She said, and I hope if I don't want to call you out, Leah, if it wasn't you, but I think Leah said, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start.
That was me.
Okay. I was like, I don't want to call no one's name and be wrong. Leah said, I don't know where to start. And I said, Leah, I bet you don't have a business plan. And she said, no, I don't. And remember, the business plan is your roadmap. The business plan is your roadmap. And so with the business plan being your roadmap, part of that roadmap is the financials. That's the start of it. That's the start of it. We can't start talking about your business plan until we know what is the revenue goal for this business. Because that's going to determine our activity levels, right? If, let's say, for example, your revenue goals are $3,000 a month, we don't need to talk about more than anything but one closing per month. Like, what are we even talking about, right? But if your revenue goals require that you hit $30,000 per month, now we're having a different conversation. $15,000 a month, now we're having a different conversation, right? So to create the business plan, we must start with the numbers. Now, with those numbers, did you guys grab I know some people are coming in late. Rika, drop again in the chat the link to the worksheets, because those that come in late, they're not going to see it. So make sure you guys have in front of you the worksheets with the financials. So in developing your plans for your financials, there's going to be your personal expenses and your business expenses. Now let's look first at your business expenses, and your personal expenses, and I am going to pull that up myself as well so that we can look at it together. The point is, guys, I want you to literally, and I mentioned this last week, you should go and look at your bank account, and everything that you are spending money on, make sure that it is on this ledger. Make sure that it is on this ledger. Everything that you're spending money on needs to be on this ledger, because we want to account for everything. And sometimes you can even, and I do this, I'll be honest with you, have like a number for overage, if that's what you want to call it, right? A little room for a little wiggle room. So let's look at personal expenses. Mortgage. If you rent, then you would put your rent. Property taxes, HOA fees, property insurance, pool. Did everybody think about the fact that you have a pool? If you got a pool, someone has to clean it. Oh, I forgot one. Lawn maintenance. Who cuts the yard? What is some other thing? Your landscaping person probably also does the same thing. Do you do anything with some people with people coming to wash your windows? Do you think if you're like an arachnophobe, like my husband, he has someone that comes and sprays for spiders outdoors, like we live in the woods. I don't know, but that's his thing, but that's an expense. So all the things that you're spending money on, electricity, gas, water, cable, internet, telephone, health, dental, life insurance. Now I can tell you in that insurance, as a CEO, guess what? That is going to be a write-off. You need to be writing that off. Remember last week, we incorporated for this reason. We incorporated so that some of these expenses need to bump over to the business because they are legitimate business expenses, right? Groceries, dining out, gym, massage, therapists. Are you seeing any professionals, right? Include that. That's an expense that you need to take into consideration. Car loan, credit card, student loan, other personal debt obligations. Now your car payments, again, because you're incorporated, you're running a business, part of that is going to be part of your business expenses, right? You may not be able to use all of it, but you're using your car for business for sure, realtor. So we need to make sure that that expense is absorbed, at least a portion of that expense is absorbed by the business. What about childcare expenses? If you have younger kids, they have childcare, they have babysitters. If they are older kids, they might have aftercare. What are the activities that they participate in? Soccer. If it's a girl, is it ballet? Right? Here's the deal. Even if you have expenses that or items that you would like to participate in, you want to put your child in piano lessons, or you want to send your child to Kumon, place those here so that you at least can forecast it. I've done that before. I've had what my actual expenses are, and I've had things that I wanted to add, so I know I needed to make room for it, right? So it's less of a what I can afford versus how much is it going to cost? How much revenue do I need to generate? That's our posture. How much revenue are we going to generate? That is our posture. We're not going to shrink. We are going to meet and exceed the revenue necessity. All right. Grooming. It's part of the personal expenses. Grooming, that's clothing, that's hair, that's nails, all those different things. Dry cleaning. Obviously, some of your clothing, if it's branded clothing, that's a business expense. Make it easy for yourself, right? And then what about savings? Don't forget about savings. Stocks, Roth IRA, cash savings. Make sure that you are planning for those expenses. She said food is an issue. And then variable expenses, travel, gifts. Some of you are brunchers, so we go to brunch. I guess that's part of eating out. I don't know, right? But make sure all of your expenses, go through your phone. How many times do you go and get your nails done, right? How many times do you go and get your eyebrows waxed and arched? Ladies, I know I go every other week or something like that, right? So make sure all of that is there. So that's the first step. List personal expenses and savings goals. List everything. You will be surprised how much you are leaving out. You'll be surprised how much you're leaving out. Hey, Alexandra, we just shouted you out for your closing. Next, scroll down, business expenses. This is meaty here. This is where we get to be CEOs. This is where we really look at CEOs. So I want to preface this by saying, obviously, some are still employed. And so, right, as an employee, you get your paycheck and then you work backwards. You make your expenses fit into your paycheck. As a CEO, again, you get to do the opposite. You get to say, no, these are my expenses. This is how much revenue I need to generate to meet my expenses, my lifestyle, right? So your personal expenses, how much does it cost you to live your life? I'm making a note here for personal expenses. How much does it cost for you to live your life? Or even the life that you desire? How much does it cost for you to live the life that you desire? Write that down. How much does it cost me to live the life that I desire? Right? Now, business expenses. We have salaries and benefits. Remember, we are going to get you on payroll. Even if you cannot afford to pay yourself, even if you cannot afford to pay yourself a huge salary right now, let's say you're transitioning, you're going from part-time to full-time, plan on your salary. Plan on your salary. What is your salary going to be? One of the things that's missing here, and I just thought about it, is under banking is the payroll cost. Like what service are you going to use for payroll? If you bank with Bank of America, they have a payroll service. Most banks have a payroll service. You can also use Gusto. Gusto is a payroll service. Paychecks, Paylocity, I think, right? But what payroll service are you going to use to pay yourself? Right? And then an assistant. You may not have an assistant now, but if you were to have an assistant, what would that cost you? Again, don't worry, put that in there because we can have where you are now and where you're going. IRA, health insurance, your business can make contributions to your investment. And it'd be pre-tax investment to contributions to your investment accounts, CEO, right? Health insurance. Write off. As an employee, what is your health insurance? When you're an employee, your health insurance comes what? That's your post-tax money. Life insurance, that's a business expense. Dental insurance, vision insurance, that's a business expense, CEO, right? Cell phone, internet, professional services. Do you take into account the cost of coaching? Business coaching, marketing coaching, CPA. A business coach is different from a marketing coach. A business coach, they know how to run a business, but a marketing professional, everybody has their strong suit, right? So let's say, for example, your what do you call it? Your physical coach. What do you call the physical coach? Your trainer. Your trainer is a beast at training you, but he may not be the best person to coach you on how to set up a conglomerate, because that's just not what he does. Like I can train you, but I myself am trained by someone on how to run a business. So factor in, guys, a coach. You need guidance, you need accountability, right? Independent contractors, social media manager, video editor, transaction coordinator. This is when we get into our virtual assistants. How much do they cost? And I want to be clear that I say, when I say virtual assistants, that doesn't mean virtual assistants offshore where the rate is a little bit less than what it is in other places, right? The rates are going to be based upon where your virtual assistant is located. Your virtual assistant can be somewhere where the rates are, $10 an hour, and they can be somewhere where the rates are $40 an hour. But what does that virtual assistant cost? Right? What does a transaction coordinator cost? Marketing items. This is going to be your after salaries. Marketing is going to be your biggest number, and it should be, because that's also going to be where you spend your most time. Listen, after we talk about numbers, guys, after you guys figure out how much it's going to cost you, how much does it cost for you to live the life that you want to live, once we get that number set, and once we figure out how much, what are the expenses to operate the business that is going to support the life that you want to live. And let me put a pin there, because that's something that I'm coached. I attend a coaching program for attorneys on how to set up, how to manage your law firm. And one of the main principles of that coaching program, guys, and I'm going to share it with you today, is that your business is supposed to work for you and not the other way around. Your business is supposed to work for you and not the other way around. What does that mean? As a solopreneur, of course, when you first start, yeah, you're going to be the only person that does a lot of things, but eventually that business, because you've put systems in place, and I know Angelique is going to call me out because she's like, here you go with your systems. Once you put systems in place, that business is supposed to work for you. Systems will start removing you from a lot of the day-to-day tasks. So think about it that way. How can I create a system, a business that is going to work for me? When you come, this is I gotta say that again. I gotta say that again because I kind of felt that. I'm shifting. As an employee, think about this, guys. Most of us worked for someone else first. So our thought process was to work for another business, to work for someone else. When you jumped out and you said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, your thought process should have flipped to say, this business is going to work for me. I figured out how to create a system to have a business work for me. Angelique said, question, can a mentor be someone you follow than someone you know? Repeat that, Angelique. Come off mute and ask me that again so I can be clear on your question. When you get in a good space. So flip your thought process to, I am setting up a business that is going to work for me. Okay, I'm setting up a business that is going to work for me. So that's part of this system. Okay, that's part of why we're documenting this. So let me get back to the expenses. So marketing, meals and entertainment, other, business travel, that's self-explanatory. Gas versus electric charging, I had to put that there. That's a whole separate conversation, guys. Electric will save you so much time. That is the future of the CEO. If you talk about efficiency, you talk about systems, go electric, because you don't have to stop at gas stations or all this other stuff. It saves you time. I'm just gonna tell you, it took me a while, but I'm a believer. Vehicle maintenance, vehicle insurance, laptop, PC, copier, printer, paper, pens. This is for those who have physical space, right? You manage, you have an actual office. Technology. Website fees, apps, lead subscriptions. You may have to pay for lead subscriptions, online ads, and then licensing. Let's not forget, every so often we have to pay our MLS dues, we have to pay our board association dues. What is the cost of your brokerage? Is there a monthly fee for your brokerage? Is there a transaction fee? What does it cost for you to be a part of your brokerage? That's something that you definitely want to put in there. Professional memberships. Professional memberships. Relationships are important, guys. As a CEO, relationships are important. Who do you need to be in relationships? What organizations do you need to join? Don't join too many now. I'm telling you that because you'll be stretched out. Do not join too many, but where else do you need to be? Real estate is 100% a relationship-based business. Who do you need to be in relationship with? Who do you need to be in relationship with? Right? There's a lot of there's Women's Council, there's NAREP, there is NAREP, there's so BNI, you guys name it. There's so many organizations that you can be a part of, but you definitely want to be a part of a professional organization, right? Like-minded people. Yep. You definitely want to be a part of a professional organization. So we have the personal expenses, we have the business expenses. Now, once you do this, once you come up with your total of your personal expenses, your total of your business expenses, how many transactions do we need to hit? That's all we're saying. So I'm gonna do quick math, and I wrote this down. I thought about this as I was actually as I was trying to get some sleep last night. If you guys just got on, you didn't hear me say I've been up since, I had a sick baby and he's still here. That's why I'm home and I'm kind of talking quiet. But you guys have probably heard it said, success is simple, not easy. The fundamentals of business, they're fairly simple. They're just not easy. So I'm going to use an example. I thought about, let's think about a 3-point shot. To hit a 3-point shot, what does it take to hit a 3-point shot? You stand behind the 3-point line, throw a ball up into a basket. Simple, right? Is it easy? Nah, because if it were easy, all of us would be doing it. All of us would be Steph Curry, right? That's why we go crazy. It's simple. You take a ball, you stand far back. I'm using, kindergarten word. You stand far back, you shoot a ball, you throw a ball and you shoot it. It's simple process. But is it easy? No, it takes practice. But once you know what you need to do, the hard part is just the consistency of practice. What we're doing today, let's simplify these numbers. So when Leah said, I don't know where to start, well, Leah, we already know. What we're going to find out today is how many transactions do you need to hit? That's the first start, because we're going to know what your personal expenses are, what your business expenses are. We're going to do that whole math. Now, how many transactions do you need to hit? So let's say, for example, our total, and we're going to do a very basic number. Let's say 150 is our annual number. That's our expenses after we've done the math and we know what our personal expenses are. Let's say that comes to, let's say 125. We're going to be very easy. 125 personal. Let's say our business expenses, and this is even high, but we're going to do it. Our business expenses are $25,000 a year. That takes us to 150. 150 annual is our overhead. That's our annual overhead, right? Let's say our average transaction, and I'm always conservative, 275. I'm conservative. If your average transaction is 550, God bless you. All you gotta do is cut this number in half. So we're gonna say 275. Angelique laughing because we know you're a baller, Angelique. We're gonna say 275. And we're gonna do 3% because we're gonna say everybody's being fair and not trying to cheat. I'm not gonna say cheat, I shouldn't use that word, but 3% on both sides, right? So that commission is $82.50. $82.50 gross commission. $82.50 gross commission. Now let's say, for example, I'm just gonna go, again, I'm gonna go very conservative and say that you are on an 80-20 split. No cap, no 100%. I'm just saying an 80-20 split. So times 80%, that's 6,600. 6,600 is is your gross commission income. That's your gross commission income. That's how much that's how much. And actually, I was trying to think of another term because honestly, your gross was the 82.50. I'm gonna come up with a term for your gross. Well, I guess it's gross after brokerage expenses, I guess, but I want to make it a little bit shorter than that, right, Angelique? Let's gross after broker fees, I don't know, transaction fees, I don't know. But let's come up with some. So then that's your gross there. And then your net is once you do all your expenses, right? So let's use this number, 150 divided by 6,600, 22.72, let's round it up to 23. That's 23 transactions a year to hit 150. Let's check my math, 23 times 660. It's actually almost 152. So now we know the number of transactions required to hit our 150 a year income goal based on we said 275 average sales price is 22. So let's run my numbers again, 275 times 3%, that was 8250. You need to write this down too, so that you know what it's gonna be, whatever your average, what's your average sales price. So your average sales price is 275 times 3% takes us to 8250. We did 80% of that because we said we're at an 80-20 brokerage. Again, if you cap anywhere or you do less than that, better for you. It's gonna be even more money for you. So 80% takes us to 6,600. We take our 150, we divide it by 6,600. And we're at 22.72. I always round up to 23. 23 deals a year divided by 12 is 2 deals a month. My God. Not too bad, right? And that's at 275. Let's say you're doing better numbers than that. Let's say you're just doing 350. 350 times 3% takes you to 10,500. 10,500 times 80% is 8,400 minus 6,600. That's $1,800 more. So what does that mean? That means you can do a couple of things. That means you can start working in a different price point. You work a different price point, you're doing less transactions. $8,400, 150 divided by 8,400. I know everybody doing the math now. That is 18 transactions, actually 17.85. That's 18 transactions instead of 23. That takes us down 5 transactions just because we changed our price point. Now, I'm gonna keep the 23 a year just because, again, I'm conservative. Because guess what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Everything you can forecast something, once you really go after it, if our number is 23 per year, your level of activity, guys, needs to match double or 3 times that. Because every deal just is not gonna close. Every lead is not gonna convert to a customer. You get what I'm saying? So this is the Angelique, what was the tell the story? You said you showed the lady, you went out, did 6 hours or something like that. You showed that buyer 6 homes. And
yes. You know me, long story short, very organized, got all my things done. She wanted to be in the Knolls, which is, you know, East Miramar, real nice older homes. I went, I got everything done, got bottled water, We went and we saw 8 properties that day. I said at the last property, I left the last property that was vacant so we can talk a little bit. Please take away out of the 8 that you saw, 5 that you don't want. Give me your top 3. She showed me her top 3. I said, take away 1 more, show me your top 2. I said, well, she took it away. I said, which one do you want? She said, I had to think about it. I said, think about it. I showed you 8 properties in your price range, in your tax range, no HOA, exactly the area you want to be in one day, took 2 hours, and you want to think about it? From that day, I have not shown more than 4 properties to any one individual buying a house, period.
8 properties, and the lady said she want to think about it.
Yeah, she thought about it, and somebody else thought about it too.
Then that's a whole different conversation.
Meaning that someone got the house that she wanted, but it worked out in the long run. She's still my customer. But I learned a valuable lesson as a realtor in the beginning.
Yes, exactly. So I see you guys' comments about the whiteboard. It's so funny you mentioned that. So Zoom does have a whiteboard feature, and I was actually playing with it yesterday. But again, if you notice my background, I'm in not necessarily unfamiliar territory, but I'm not in the studio today. I'm working from home with the he said you did 100. Angelique, they say you did over 100 miles in a day.
The good thing, it was in the same community. So it was really more like 8 miles, but my time, effort, and energy for you to tell me that.
Oh no, she said she did. Anne Marie
Oh,
said she did. She did over.
no.
Yeah, Anne Marie. We're gonna do office hours to have a conversation about all these war stories. Anne Marie had it rough in the beginning. She showed this lady so many homes. Anne Marie was exhausted. Anne Marie was about to throw in her license behind this one client.
May I say one thing, Rayco, without taking up, just in response to that? I had someone tell me that in Atlanta, Georgia last week, and I told them at the end of the day, I said, do you mind if I be candid with you? She said she showed the lady 27 properties. I said, it's not the customer, it's you. You've got to have systems and standard operating procedure. If you go to Publix at 10 o'clock, and you know they close at 10 o'clock, they have a procedure, meaning that they close at 10 o'clock. You have to start figuring out where your cutoff is. I mean, divided into what you were just saying, that breakdown, your time divided into the commission you actually get at the end of the day, divided into how many houses you showed and how much time, how much is that? After all those fees. So exactly. I think your systems that you have in place is what we need to do as realtors as well.
Exactly. So this goes back to a conversation that we were having as well. This is where you start saying whether or not you work with, well, you start defining your services, right? Either a clientele type, like you said, I'm 75% list side, 30% or 25% buy side, or I only work this area, or only work this price point, because you can determine who do you service. And that's part of running a business, right? So to answer you guys' questions again, I saw you guys talking about in the a whiteboard. I'll put it together on the sheet and put it in the community if you still need it. But you do need to know this. You need to know what your number is, because again, from there, once we figure out what your number is, it's all about activity to hit that 23 per year. That's it. There's nothing else for us to talk about. Like, we know how much you want to make. We know how much it costs for you to run your business. Why are we still having this conversation about numbers? But the issue is most people don't know what it even was. What's the number? What are we going for? So once we have this tied in a bow, we never have to have this conversation again. We'll tweak it. We'll make sure that everything is doing what it's supposed to do. But we know that our number is 23 transactions per year, period. Right? All right. So once you do that, once you know what your expenses are, you set your expenses, now you need to track it. Am I sticking to the budget? Am I sticking to the budget, as well as are these things doing what they need to do? So we also were having a conversation about an expense that Angelique mentioned she's gonna cut. She's like, because it's not doing what I needed to do. It's not doing what I needed to do. And that's what you're going to have to do. If you hire a service, you hire a vendor, you're going to trial and error some things. You got to give it a little bit of time. They say 6 months. I agree. Give a marketing strategy 6 months to work. See if it works, and make sure you're deploying it, and make sure you're being consistent. You can't say, oh, those leads didn't work, but you never called them. You were getting all these leads fed into your email every day, and you never call. You called them like once a week. No, it's not going to work, right? So make sure, and this is another reason why you should not deploy too many marketing strategies. You only have, we talked about calendaring, you only have so many hours per day set aside for marketing. How are you going to deploy 5 different things as one person? Right? So now we're getting really tight on how to be very successful. Track your income. Are we hitting our 20? Are we hitting an average of 2 deals per month? If we're not, we know we're in trouble. If we're not hitting it, we're in trouble. Going back to the beginning of what, when we started, we're talking about how these big companies are doing massive layoffs because they know their numbers. They know they're not going to hit because of what the market is doing or whatever the case, they're not going to hit their revenue needs. So they have to go what? They have to go back and cut their expenses because the income is not there. So you're going to make sure that you've allocated, say, for example, $300 per month to gas, let's just say, for example, and you went and did what Anne-Marie or you had an Angelique day or month and you did 600. Well, now that other 300 has to come from somewhere. Where's that 300 coming from, right? So track your income and expenses. Now in tracking it, you're going to adjust as necessary. Red light, you guys heard the term red light, green light before? I'm sure if you've ever been through KW, you've definitely heard of red light, green light. That means do not add any more expenses until you have the income for it. And when you add it, make sure, again, that it's doing what it's supposed to do. That website, that lead source, that vendor, those leads, are they doing what they need to do? If not, cut it. That goes for your personal expenses as well. We talked with Netflix was a joke, is a running joke. If you're not using Netflix, cut it. If you're not using Hulu? I don't watch TV. I'm gonna be honest with you. I use YouTube. I have a premium YouTube subscription. I might be the biggest nerd. Nobody on here probably. Anyone has a premium YouTube subscription? You even know what that is? I get no commercials on my YouTube channel. I get no commercials. It runs in my background because that's all I listen to. I don't watch TV. But anyway, she said I deleted it. I tried it once. It's amazing. I love it. You guys do what you want to do with your Netflix. So that's that. And then again, this is, like I say, simple, but not easy. Simple enough, right? So now, guys, you got 3 things. Once you come up with your, you said I tried the free premium. Why? Once you do these 3 things, one, you're gonna come up with your personal expenses, come up with your business expenses. We get that total. Once we know what that number is, and once we know how many transactions we need to hit based on your average transaction, you can even be more conservative and not do 3%, do 2.5%, just because it is what it is, right? It's better for you to, what did they say, shoot for the moon, but land in the stars? It's better for you to be more conservative about what it's going to take for you to hit your goal than for you to underestimate what it's going to take to hit your goal, right? Exactly. Keep it basic. It doesn't take a whole lot. We're not running Zillow. We ain't running Redfin. Comp is none of them. Ours is pretty basic. We can do it on a couple sheets of paper. I promise you, right? So you're going to come up with your personal expenses, come up with your business expenses, do the math. How many transactions do I need to hit in order to hit my income goals? Once you do that, now we're tracking our income and expenses to make sure they match what we forecasted. Because even if you hit that 23, but your expenses don't match what we estimated, we have a problem. Again, we estimated 300, your gas came in at 600 a month. We have a problem. basics. Make sure those numbers line up with what we initially estimated, and then we hit our income goals, right? Any questions on that? I want to do this. Any questions? Any questions? The last thing, we are coming up on 1 o'clock. I want to leave you guys with this quote, and this hit me. I completely agree with this. So it's a quote that says, small businesses, you can give them capital, I mean, you can give them money, but what they often need as much is mentoring, advice, and help with their business plan. What does that mean? I can give you $100,000 right now, but if you don't know what your business needs, if you don't have a plan, you will burn right through it. So it's not really oftentimes capital that you need. You need a plan. You need mentoring, and you need advice on how to execute the plan. All right? If you have that business plan would say, well, 100 grand, I really don't, it's not 100 grand, I only need 25. My overhead is 25 for my business. But if you never knew what it costs for you to run your business, you would be shooting in the dark about what do I really need? But because you have this business plan, someone said, if I was to give you $50,000 right now, how would you use it for your business? Where you would say, well, first of all, 25 of it is going to this, because I know these are my expenses, right? And the other 25 will go towards this, this, and this, and this, because these are my aspirations. These are my absolutes. These are my currentlies. These are my aspirations. So now we're having a different conversation about what to do with that money, right? I'm glad, Dr. Kyle, yes. Jessica says, running numbers is my favorite thing to do. Once I break down the numbers, I get less, come on. Girl, don't make me yell. Grayson is supposed to be asleep. You guys see that? She said, once I run the numbers, I get less stressed. Going back to Leah said, well, I don't even know where to start. That would make me frantic. I don't even know where to start. Well, now, guys, you know where to start. You know where to start. Let's start with the personal expenses. Let's do these business expenses. And now we know we need 3 deals a month. I know where to start. I need to start right here attacking 3 deals per month. From today forward, we're going to talk about how you attack to hit these 3 deals per month. We already know what your number is. Now, what is our activity going to look like to hit that number? That's all it's about, guys. Once you know what your number is, what is the activity to hit that number? We're all doing the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. At the title company, how many files do we need to close? Mortgage, how many loans do we need to close? Transaction coordinators, how many files do we need to close? It's simple, not easy. All right. Leah said, this is so helpful. I'm getting started, getting my PA, working my business plan, and now knowing the numbers. That's right. Let's go. All right, guys. We have work like we do. Yes. Yeah. You got to work it like you're working 9 to 5. And God, my God, you are very successful if you could keep it between 9 and 5, right? That's one of the things our hours are a little different, but if you can work it to keep it between 9 and 5, you're really successful. I know. All right, guys. Well, that's all we had. We went a little bit longer than I anticipated, but this was all good stuff. I hope that I made it clear enough to you. This is easy. It's simple. Not necessarily easy, but it's simple. All right. Make sure that you grab the handout. Again, congratulations to our Can explain why a PA is needed. Of course. All right, let's go you got to go to last week's huddle. Let's go to last week's huddle. Go into the community and review last week's huddle. Yep, it can be a PA or LLC. PLLC, PA. I've only seen one agent that has an LLC so far. You got an LLC for your personal? Why are you typing, Angelique? Just come off mute. You got music going on in the background?
I'm being a good student. I'm listening.